I got a question about Cam Newton. I was wondering if you think he's going to screw over Ryan Fitzpatrick and take his job.
Okay, so now the question, thank you, Austin. Now the question is, where does Cam Newton go? Where does he end up at? And Hembo, who I love, I absolutely love Hembo. Paul Hembakaias, I believe is his name.
Yep.
He is a Greek man who is incredible at numbers. He said that Cam has been hitting more than any quarterback in the history of like a 15-year period or something like that, the amount of hits he's taken because of the style of play, by the way. And also, there was a hell of a run there where refs weren't calling anything because Cam was bigger than everybody.
Yeah.
So he was taking shots that no other quarterback in the NFL would ever have to take or take without a penalty being called because Cam's athletic ability and his build was something that these refs, I think, they'll say they had so much respect for it, but it kind of fucked over Cam. Then there was obviously the shoulder injury that he pointed back to that he hasn't felt the same since then, the car accident. I mean, there is a lot out there. I don't know if Ryan Fitzmagic is the guy who's just going to give up his job, though. I think people forget Fitz had a run with the Dolphins last year.
Yeah.
He was benched during a bye week, was heartbroken about it. Fitz has always won games wherever he's gone. Just has he won enough consistently to get them over the hump and make him earn his long-term deal? He's been on, 15 teams or whatever at this point. But that Washington football team, they invested in Fitz. They brought Fitzmagic in. They got Heineke in the backup. I'm not sure Ron Rivera is necessarily thrilled to bring in another quarterback, let alone somebody that isn't vaccinated, that is public knowledge now.
Bingo.
Because what was Rivera saying there for a while when his players weren't as high as vaccination percentage as everybody else?
Yeah, he said, I'm sick and tired of it. Get fucking vaccinated or get out of here.
And then I don't think they did. And then he had to say it again. He said,
hey, I wasn't kidding. Get fucking vaccinated. I'm done with this shit.
He and Zimmer have been the loudest and most pissed off about their teams not being vaccinated because it is a competitive advantage to have all your players in the building.
Yes.
I mean, that is a competitive advantage.
Big time.
Whenever you have your team, that is much better competitively than if you don't have your team. I mean, that is, people are saying, is it a competitive advantage? Yeah, it is, I think, because with these protocols, and I think with the newest addition today to the protocol is that even if you're vaccinated, you're getting tested once a week, every 7 days, and there's 3 different days for different tiers of people to get tested. If you're non-vaccinated, you're still getting tested, every other day, I think, or something like that. And it's going to continue to happen until this whole thing is settled and hopefully COVID moves out of the world. But I'm not sure Ron Rivera is going to be a guy that's going to bring in a quarterback that's not vaccinated, let alone at this particular time. Cam Newton falls once again into a terrible time of being a free agent quarterback. I mean, we are, 9 days away from the start of the NFL season?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Pat, unfortunately, we know where he's going to go, and unfortunately, the unluckiest quarterback in NFL history will be replaced as a starter once again, Tyrod Taylor in Houston.
Yeah, Casario down there he does know Cam, huh? Because he was with
Last year.
Oh, no.
Especially with Lombardi said, it doesn't seem like Cam is someone who's just going to go somewhere to be a backup. He's got to go somewhere to start. I thought Dallas for a little, but because of the 4-star General, the Corporal comment, it doesn't make sense anywhere except for Houston, really.
Yeah, but if he hasn't been a 4-star general at that building yet, he's not a 4-star there, right?
True.
And I think that's what Lombardi was talking about. Lombardi was talking about how guys will go elsewhere because the prestige and the entire aura is much different when you go to another building. If he goes to a place like Dallas and he's like, hey, you're the backup, then he is acting as such immediately upon going in there and everybody's viewing him as such. If he stayed in New England, then he's the backup. You're kind of cutting his balls off.
Yeah,
you know
sure.
what I mean? Like, it's kind of, if you're one of those, I'm not saying it can't happen. Okay, it has happened in the past. This is something that the NFL, but with the way Cam is, like if he was to lose any of that energy, then you got people being like, oh, you upset? You okay? You're all right. Hey, it's okay. It's like, I am okay. Shut the fuck up. I'm just trying to be the same guy, even though I don't have the same position. That's a fascinating part of this is the study of humans, which is sociology, I believe, is the interaction of different types of humans with other types of humans and all that shit. I mean, I was a minor in sociology, no big deal.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't graduate in the major or the minor, so I don't think it matters. But the psychology of humans is a big part of what Belichick has done up there, right?
Yeah.
And Lombardi's saying this is why he thinks he got cut is incredible to me, because I think that's the right way to view things. Like, hey, how are the humans going to act? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that is a much bigger deal than anybody makes up for it, because you can't judge that in a 40 time. You can't see that in practice film in the drills, but you can feel it in the building. And if you don't have a team, which Lombardi talked about, Belichick, team building is what he loves. If you don't have a team, you're not going to have a Super Bowl. And that's all Bill Belichick wants at this point. Bill Belichick isn't still coaching just to fucking have a winning team again. You know what I mean? He's trying to do what he got to do.
At this point, isn't it to Cam's, don't you think he's better off just waiting, and then, if someone gets injured elsewhere, like, hey, maybe I can sign somewhere mid-season, as opposed to being this close to the season and just kind of being like, okay, I guess I'll just go sign with one of these teams that needs a backup quarterback, because with COVID, and granted he's not vaccinated, but with COVID and everything and the potential for injuries, like if he just waits a little bit, don't you think he actually probably will get another opportunity this year?
So then what he'll have to have that 5-day re-entry process wherever he goes. So I don't know. Like, if somebody gets hurt, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
He wouldn't be able to fill in immediately.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like just a plug-and-play situation, because he has that 5-day re-entry process that he has to go through the purgatory, because now, granted, his vaccination status might change.
True.
And I don't think a lot of these players necessarily love that all their vaccination statuses are being outed with all these protocols as well, but I don't think the NFL gives a single fuck about that.
No.
The NFL does not care at all.